So it's December 15th. You're scrolling through Amazon at 11 p.m. You've got 17 tabs open. Your credit card is literally in your hand, and you're about to drop $800 on gifts because you convinced yourself that spending less means you don't care about your family. And here's the crazy part. 3 months from now, you're going to be sitting there looking at your credit card statement, wondering why you're still paying for Christmas in April, while most of those gifts are either forgotten, returned, or collecting dust in a closet somewhere. Yeah, we need to talk about this. My name is Cashford, and I spend way too much time thinking about how we've been psychologically manipulated into believing that love has a price tag. If you're someone who feels guilty every single year about not spending enough on gifts, or you find yourself going into debt to prove you care about people, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Look, here's the thing. The average American spent $923 on Christmas gifts last year, according to the National Retail Federation. $923. And get this. A study from the Journal of Consumer Research found that gift recipients can only accurately guess the price of a gift about 40% of the time, and the correlation between gift price and how much they actually appreciated it, almost non-existent. So we're spending nearly $1,000 on gifts, going into debt, stressing ourselves out, and the people receiving them can't even tell if we spent $30 or $300, and it doesn't actually make them happier. That's insane. Now, you might be thinking, but Cashford, I can't just show up empty-handed, that's worse. And you're right, but here's what most people don't realize. The guilt you feel about spending less isn't about the other person's happiness, it's about your own anxiety about being perceived as cheap or uncaring. And retailers know this. They've spent billions of dollars studying consumer psychology to exploit this exact feeling. So today, I'm going to give you 5 gift ideas that are going to completely change how you think about gift giving. These aren't just cheap alternatives. These are gifts that people actually remember, that actually create connection, and that don't require you to finance your love through a credit card company at 24% APR. Here's the first idea, the experience gift. Harvard Business School did this massive study, tracking 76,000 people across multiple countries, and they found that experiential purchases, concerts, classes, trips, activities, provided more enduring happiness than material purchases. Not a little more, significantly more. So instead of buying your sister a $150 sweater that she'll wear maybe 4 times, you buy 2 tickets to that painting class she mentioned 6 months ago. Cost? $60 total. You spend 3 hours together, you create something, you laugh about how bad your painting is, and 5 years from now, she's not going to remember that sweater, but she's definitely going to remember that night.
Let me break down the math here, because this is where it gets really interesting. Let's say you have 5 people on your list. Traditional gift approach, $150 per person, that's $750. Experience approach, $60 per experience. That's $300. You just saved $450, which, invested in an S&P 500 index fund over 30 years at an average 10% return, becomes $7,840. You essentially just found $7,840 by making your loved ones happier. And look, I know what you're thinking. What if they don't want to spend time with me? First of all, that's your anxiety talking. Second, you can get creative here. For your dad who lives across the country, 2 tickets to a baseball game in his city with a note that says you'll come visit to use them. For your niece, a cooking class you do together over video chat. The point isn't the specific activity, the point is the intentionality. When you give an experience gift, you're giving 3 gifts: the anticipation before it happens, the experience itself, and the memory afterward. A physical item is just the item. Gift idea number 2, the Skillshare gift. This one is completely free, and it's one of the most meaningful gifts I've ever given. Here's the concept. You teach someone a skill you have that they've expressed interest in. Your brother mentioned he wants to learn guitar. You play guitar. Give him a certificate for 6 guitar lessons. Your coworker wants to learn to cook. You're great at meal prep. Offer to teach them 5 of your best recipes over 5 Sunday afternoons. Now look, I can already hear the objections. My time is worth money, Cashford. If I'm spending 6 hours teaching guitar, that's 6 hours I could be working overtime. Okay, let's do that math. You work overtime, make an extra $200, pay taxes on it, now you've got maybe $140, you buy a gift, and honestly, it's probably going to be forgotten. Or, and stay with me here, you spend those same 6 hours teaching your brother guitar, he learns a skill he'll have for life, you bond over something you're passionate about, and every single time he picks up that guitar for the next 40 years, he thinks about you. Which one actually created value? We've been conditioned to believe that if it doesn't cost money, it doesn't count. But think about the best gift you've ever received. I'll bet you money it wasn't the most expensive one. It was the one where someone actually paid attention to what you needed and cared enough to do something about it.
A study from the University of Cincinnati found that people consistently underestimate how much recipients value handmade or skill-based gifts because we're biased toward market value over sentimental value. But recipients rated these gifts as more thoughtful and created stronger emotional connections. Gift idea number 3, the subscription service. Just hear me out. Subscriptions get a bad rap because they're recurring expenses, but when done strategically, a $10 a month subscription can replace a $100 one-time gift and provide more value. For example, your mom loves reading. You could buy her 3 hardcover books for $90. Or you buy her a 1-year subscription to Kindle Unlimited for $120. She gets access to millions of books, she discovers new authors, and every single month when she uses it, she thinks of you. Just make sure the subscription matches their behavior. Don't buy your dad, who barely watches TV, a streaming service. Don't buy your friend, who hates clutter, a monthly box. But if your sister already buys fresh flowers every week, a flower subscription gives her joy every single week of the year. And here's a pro move. Many subscriptions offer big discounts for prepaid annual plans. A coffee subscription that's $25 a month drops to $18 a month if you prepay. You get a $216 gift for $144. One-time gifts create one spike of happiness. Recurring gifts create sustained happiness. Behavioral economics calls this the peak end rule. We remember the high moments in the final moments of an experience. A subscription gives you 12 highs instead of 1. Gift idea number 4, the upgraded everyday item. This is my personal favorite. The idea is simple. Find something the person uses every single day that's kind of crappy and upgrade it. Your friend uses a ratty old coffee thermos? Get them a high-quality insulated one for $35. Your dad's slippers are falling apart? A really nice pair is $40 and will improve his life every morning. The key is observation. You're not adding clutter, you're improving something they already use. I did this last year with my mom. She always reads with this terrible book light that barely works. I bought her a really nice rechargeable one for $28. She told me, "I use this every single night and think about how thoughtful you are." $28 for a year's worth of appreciation. People vastly overvalue rare, expensive gifts and undervalue frequent, modest ones. But if someone uses an item every day, the value compounds. A $200 sweater worn 5 times is 5 uses. A $35 thermos used 300 days a year for 5 years is 1,500 uses. The math isn't close. Just think about their daily routine. What do they do every day that could be 10% better? That's your gift. Gift idea number 5, the collaborative gift. This one flips everything on its head. Instead of everyone buying separate mediocre gifts, coordinate with family or friends to pool money for one meaningful gift.
Let's say 4 cousins each spend $50 on grandma. Traditionally, she gets 4 separate $50 gifts she doesn't need, but pool that money and suddenly you have $200. Now you can get her that KitchenAid mixer she's always wanted, or book her a weekend getaway. My siblings and I did this for our dad. Instead of 3 $80 gifts, we pooled $240 and bought him noise-canceling headphones he'd been wanting for a year. He said it was the best gift he'd ever gotten.
Not because it was expensive, but because it was exactly what he wanted. This approach also eliminates duplicate and useless gifts. How many times has someone received 5 candles on Christmas morning? The psychology behind this is called preference matching. Gift givers are terrible at guessing what recipients actually want because we project our own preferences. But when you collaborate, you have more information and can actually meet someone's wants. Now we have to talk about something uncomfortable. Everything I just described requires more effort than clicking Buy Now. It requires thought, planning, coordination, and sometimes awkward money conversations. And that's exactly why most people don't do it. Retailers made gifting frictionless, and in doing so, they removed the meaning. We outsourced thoughtfulness to corporate algorithms. The discomfort about spending less? Manufactured, not real. It's decades of marketing telling you love is expensive, but the data doesn't support it. The psychology doesn't support it, and your actual experience doesn't support it. Think about the last 10 gifts you received. How many do you remember? How many improved your life? Now think about the experiences, the skills shared, the moments with people. Those are what matter. Let's do some final math. If you spend $923 a year, the national average, and instead spend $400 using these strategies, that's $523 saved every year. Over 30 years, that's $15,690 saved. But if you invested that $523 annually at 10% returns, after 30 years, you'd have $99,437. $100,000. That's a down payment on a house. That's college tuition. That's real security. And you didn't sacrifice anything. In fact, you gave better gifts. So here's my challenge. This Christmas, pick just one person and try one of these approaches. Just one. See how it feels. See how they react. And then ask yourself if the anxiety about spending less was ever about them or about you. Because the people who love you don't want you going into debt for them. They don't want you stressed in January. They want you to be thoughtful, they want to feel seen, and they want to spend time with you. Everything else is just marketing. If this changed the way you're thinking about gifts this year, hit that like button. And if you want more content about making intentional financial decisions instead of just doing what the world tells you to do, make sure to subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.